there he is, locked and loaded. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good?
I'm good. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I like what the Dolphins are doing. I think they're setting things up. It's so far. What do you think? Obviously, we still have a long ways to go to finish this off season.
Setting things
But
up
the
for
start,
what?
the start.
Start of what? Setting things up for the start? Is that what you're saying? Is
Start
that?
of the off season. The start of
Oh,
the
okay. So you think that this is the what? Appetizer, main course?
I wouldn't even put it in that order. I would say you're probably going to have 3 meals in a day. Okay, so this is breakfast, and then you'll have lunch, which is the
Okay.
draft, and then you'll have dinner, which is, any post cuts and training camp cuts and those kind of
Okay.
things. So you got 3 meals to set up your team. So
Mm-hmm.
here, as you're dining in this first meal and finishing it off, how have they done? How have they done so far?
I can honestly tell you that after doing a thorough look at it, um, it's okay. I thought, outside of remove let's remove the Jalen Ramsey acquisition because that's a big one. That's a big one.
You can't remove it because that's part of the equation.
Okay, I'm taking Vic Fangio and Jalen Ramsey out of the equation because those are hear me out, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. Those are the clear cut like colossal upgrades. I would argue to you that they're probably two of the top acquisitions any team has made this offseason. Two
Okay.
and they should help you a lot.
Yeah.
But do you feel comfortable with how they address the linebacker position? Do you feel comfortable with how they address the safety position? Do you feel comfortable with how they address the offensive line issues?
What's wrong with what's wrong with the safety position?
You're more comfortable with Brandon Jones than I am. We've discussed this for 3 years now. We
Yeah.
have. We've gone back and forth about it.
Yeah,
And
and he was playing better last year in coverage. He was
oh,
making he was making the improvements that he needed to make in coverage
he's
last
okay.
year.
He's okay. He's okay. He's I personally feel like, and when you look at what Poyer signed back with the Bills for $6 million, why not? Now, yeah, you had to probably get a little bit creative to create that space for that $6 million. But are you telling me that couldn't drastically improve
Well, they
their?
still have to sign Wilkins. They still have to sign
Yeah, I
Sealer.
mean that's going to free up cap space. That's not gonna challenge you. So signing
No, that
Wilkins.
no, they will take up some space because you do have to pay them a salary.
No, no, no,
So
no.
even though,
Wilkins right now, Wilkins is on the book cap numbers for like $11 million. If
well,
he
yeah,
signs,
you'll lower that to
if
like
he has a
five, right?
multi-year extension, you'll create at easily $6-7 million in cap space, and I'm sure that's their breaking case of emergency maneuver, and
Well,
that
they also get the Byron Jones 13 million in
yeah,
June.
that's
So
later. That's later. That's later. That's later when you feel like, and I agree with you. Dinner to me will be those veterans who probably want to miss OTAs, the Melvin Ingrams, the Trey Flowers type signings. I think you'll have a ton of opportunities to improve your team, probably with about 4 players, maybe an offensive lineman, maybe another pass rusher, maybe another defensive lineman. They're very thin at defensive line. And keep in mind, every single person on that defensive line right now, except for Emmanuel Ogba, is entering the last year of their deal, which is never a comfortable position. They need to develop some young players there. Tight end. Did you feel like they addressed it? It seems
I think
like they were.
it's coming in the draft.
Yeah, okay, it's coming in the draft, and that's cool. But I felt like they kind of took
It's a
a
draft.
dollar.
It's a draft heavy tight end.
Yes, yes, and I understand that. But I personally felt like they took a dollar store approach to free agency, and I get it. But with Chris Greer's history in the draft and in free agency, it doesn't necessarily make me feel very comfortable that all of the issues that you had that you knew you needed to improve upon were issues that you clearly got better at. Like, I am not 1,000% certain that David Long Jr. is a drastic upgrade over Landon Roberts. Now, I think he's
Oh God, yes. Oh God,
Landon,
yes.
from a
Yeah,
coverage standpoint, maybe.
Landon Roberts can't cover, bro. He can't cover at
Yes.
all.
No, I know. I'm aware.
So then you're useless in this defense. This is a
Okay, but
defense. This is a
you know
defense
what
that
he's
you
doing?
have to cover, Omar. You
Yes,
have to cover.
you're
So
absolutely right.
David Long may not knock your dick in your sock the way a Landon Roberts will. I get that. I get that. I get a Landon Roberts is a
Why are
fire
we trying
hydrant.
to knock our
Knock
dick
your
in
ass
the
out. I get
Listen,
all of that, but the bottom line is David Long is still very good against the run, and he is much better against the pass.
we'll
Way
see.
better against the pass.
We'll see. We will definitely see. It doesn't. I felt and still feel like, Bobby Wagner's still out there. I still feel like there are clear-cut improvements that they could have made that weren't, oh, we need to take care of this now. Let's get this guy now. Oh, boom.
Oh,
And
maybe they're playing this game here that they're waiting.
yeah, no question. As the process plays out, and I feel way more confident and comfortable. Like I was looking at signing Andrew Van Ginkel, which I know you're like, woo, yay! Like, come
Love
on,
it.
bro.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
It was the players re-signed the 4 running backs back. Like
They did. The running backs were not an issue at all last year.
They had one team was worse running the ball than them last year.
The running backs were not the issue last year.
Okay,
it's the
all right,
offensive line and your head coach.
Okay, whatever.
It has to be also. It's more Mike McDaniel than it ever was the running backs. Mike McDaniel doesn't know how to stay with the run when it's actually working.
That's fair, but I don't like, and I've never liked this, and I feel very uncomfortable about this because I know that the NFL is a league where it fuels on familiarity, it fuels on consistency. It's just like let me get, this is what I'm familiar with. I know these players. Let me bring them in, and that's cool. But I felt like they did too much familiarity and not enough talent upgrading this offseason.
Well, Long is an upgrade at linebacker. You brought way more athleticism. Jalen Ramsey is an upgrade at corner, obviously, there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't call that an upgrade? I think
no question it's an
upgrade. Dan Feeney is an upgrade over Dieter.
Okay.
Because he can play center and guard at the same time. So this is a guy that's going to help you out there. So that is, and then you brought back Nick Needham, right?
Why is Dan Feeney a clear upgrade? He's been a backup with the Jets, who've been offensive line starved for the last 2 years.
Because he's actually played.
Okay, he's played. Okay, then and Dieter has not. All right, that's fair.
I'm telling you. I mean, by them bringing him and leaving Dieter alone and just saying, see you later, that tells you all you need to know, that they're already, it's an upgrade for them, the way they look at it.
Chris Kerr's not very good at drafting.
Here's the real dynamic and the real problem for all of us. You, me, the entire Dolphin Nation. The dynamics of Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg. Because we all are all saying, well, bro, what about left guard and right tackle, right? Some of us are saying, like, where's Brandon Shell? He's still out there. Go get him.
Yeah.
Bring him back. He actually did a serviceable job.
Yes.
Here's our problem. Eichenberg and Jackson has not convinced any of us, okay?
Right.
Now, Austin, I'll give him a little love that he was showing me something in training camp in the preseason before he got hurt. But in their eyes, and here's the problem, in our eyes, we've watched these guys for a few years now, and they don't convince us of shit, right? But in their eyes,
they're not ready to give up.
They only got one injury-riddled year out of Eichenberg and Jackson, and they're not injury-prone players. But last year they had the bad luck of all the injuries, and it derailed their seasons. And they were, and let me tell you something, because they told me in the building when Eichenberg got injured, they were convinced he was turning the corner the last couple of weeks. I didn't see it, but they tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about, that, hey, he was turning the corner. So they like Eichenberg and they like Austin Jackson. That's our problem here right now, that we think they need something desperately, but they're not acting desperately
No,
because
I don't think they need something desperately.
I mean, a lot of people think they need a right tackle, bro. I mean,
Yeah, a lot of people do. I've never, and no, I love offensive line. I thought Eichenberg played well when he was with Teron Armstead. Eichenberg wasn't an issue with Teron Armstead. Eichenberg was an issue
he was missing
without.
he keeps missing the switches and all that shit, dude. Even
Twists.
with Armstead next to him, those twists, he has, I don't know what it is, but he doesn't feel that. He doesn't see it happening before.
I think he's going to be a much better player.
They must feel it, bro. They Omar, that's what they're saying.
Yeah,
like
I think he's had a bad run.
That they can make Eichenberg and Jackson players, and that's the problem.
Jackson, I don't know about that.
That's the
Jackson,
problem.
I don't know about that. I'm not ready to make that commitment. But yes.
And by the way, you might be onto something on the Jackson thing, because we just talked about the tight ends. In this draft, offensive line and tight ends can be found all the way to the third round. They do have a second and a third rounder. So I would not be surprised if those picks are a tight end and a tackle, actually.
Absolutely.
And right tackles can be found, as you know, in the second round. Oh, my God. There's
I'm sure there are 5 different right tackle starting talent options that are out there right now that they can add to the team for the minimum if they wanted to. And, a lot of this is trying to – I think they need to add competition to Austin Jackson, but I think a lot of this is trying to inject into him confidence. Hey, we believe in you, and he's going to work hard, and he's going to do what he needs to do.
He's a good dude, yeah, man.
And truthfully speaking, and I've said this from the beginning, and I've said this to you many times, I wouldn't be opposed to trying Robert Hunt at right tackle. I'm good with. I thought he played right tackle.
Yeah, but they think he can be really special at guard, so
they're
gonna keep him there, bro.
I know they're gonna keep him there, but I'm thinking big picture. Robert Hunt's another guy that they need to start. You need to start considering extending him and Connor Williams and Christian Wilkins. Those are ways and routes that they can go that they have to think about their future. But I'm not so thirsty for offensive line help. You can get offensive line help after the draft. You can get offensive line help during the draft. They don't have to be. I never thought that signing a player to a big money contract was going to be the answer to fix to the offense. And I understand it's Tua's blind side that you're worried about, but I think that there's numerous ways that you can go about patching that spot. Along with Austin Jackson, giving him another season. I'm sure this is the year he's probably not going to get his 5th-year option, and the fire is going to be lit under this guy to prove that I'm a starter, not a career backup. And that's really what this season is going to be about for him.
Have you looked into what's the deal going on with Brandon Shell?
Supposedly, from what I've read, he's like he had some interest from the Buffalo Bills. I don't know what that interest is gonna lead to a contract. I'm suspecting there's some medical situations and issues. When guys usually are just hanging around like this after a couple of visits to teams, there's like medical stuff that
he did get injured. He did get injured at the end of the year. Remember, I don't know where he's at in his recovery. Well, actually, I was told that he's doing well in the recovery, but who knows? You know?
It's going to be interesting. Interesting to see what they do, how they do it, the approach that they take to fixing or addressing that offensive line. I personally believe that it all starts with Teron Armstead. He has a healthy season, they'll have a productive offensive line. Now, that's never happened in his career, but got to figure out a way to ensure that he plays at least 15 of the 17 games and doesn't play half the season at 70% like he did last year.
Did Miami do enough or is doing enough to win the division?
No. Not even with the pieces that the Buffalo Bills lost, I still think that they're still behind the Buffalo Bills. I'm not
even though the way Miami played them this year, injured and all.
Yeah.
And they should have won the second game. There wasn't.
I don't agree with you on that one. And Buffalo should have won the first game. So what are you saying? Like you don't should have. Oh, they should have won the second game. Yeah, Buffalo should have won the first game too.
No, the Buffalo did not. Buffalo got worn out in that game. What are you talking about, bro? In the second game, Miami dropped 2 touchdowns in that game. All right. Miami was running at 7 yards a carry. And again, our favorite head coach chose not to keep running the damn ball.
And I know that Buffalo signed a Patriots running back. Is it Damian Harris? But I keep hearing that they're in the conversation for Derrick Henry, and that would scare the bejesus out of me. And it should scare the bejesus out of the Dolphins.
No, it'll never happen. They don't have the cap to do it.
Man, you could create. Listen,
they have cap, bro. They've been crying about their cap now. That's what they've been doing. You think they're going to trade for that guy? Wants a new contract.
Yes, he does want a new contract, and new contracts can be structured any way that you see fit. How many times do I have to tell you that the salary cap isn't real, and it's never stopped the team from doing anything that they've ever been motivated to do? Not one team has ever been stopped and hindered. Oh man, we can't do that because of the cap.
That's actually not true. It's they can do the things while they're making the run. Eventually, you will have.
Man, they got $9 million in cap space right now. That's a Derrick Henry trade right there. $9 million in cap space. You can restructure Mitch Morse.
Omar, every team that's gone crazy, whether they are the New Orleans Saints or the Rams or the Washington Redskins of the past, that, when Dan Snyder went crazy, you can go crazy and sign a bunch of people for a couple of years and make a run. You're right. You can finagle the cap. Yeah. But eventually, after your run is over, you will have to gut the team and you will have dead money and you will suck for a couple of years.
Man,
that's what the Dolphins had to do.
How much
and they didn't go as crazy as the Rams. But look at the Rams and their limitations. Look at the Saints and their limitations.
Yeah, the Saints, the Rams took all-in approach. All-in approach.
They're still paying dead money this year for Drew Brees. Okay?
Are you talking about the Saints?
Have Drew Brees money on the books this year.
Let's look at the Saints, because the Saints ridiculously enter, and I have coined the phrase "who dat coins," because for a decade that's how they've been paying players.
Right, but eventually you keep pushing back the credit card.
Yes,
eventually you gotta pay, bro.
And right now they've got $16 million in cap space. How, I don't know, but they could do anything.
They don't have a quarterback anymore.
If the Saints want to go sign Lamar Jackson, they could sign Lamar Jackson. They could do anything.
But that's, bro, they're a couple of years removed already from that whole mess. They've already
a season removed from that whole mess. They entered last season like $70-something million over the cap. They are one season.
This is the third year that Drew Brees is retired, man.
Okay, bro. I follow the cap. I do the business of the NFL. I pay attention to what the Saints do every single offseason. I could tell you they were $79 million over the cap last year when it began, because that's how I was tracking the Teron Armstead. And yes, they lost Armstead because they couldn't.
And that's why they're limited, bro. And that's why they can't do the things that they would like to do, because they don't have the same amount of money that everybody else does.
And they signed a Derek Carr, a top 10 paid quarterback, and still have $60 million in cap space, and you're crying about their finances. Bro, the cap ain't real, man. How many times I'm gonna fight you on this?
They're not a good team, my brother.
Okay,
They're not
they
a
got
good team
just as
anymore.
much a chance. They got just as much a chance in their division right now as the Miami Dolphins do.
No.
So,
Their division sucks. Please don't
okay,
compare the division.
exactly. They got
Don't even
just as
compare
much
the
a
division.
chance in their division as the Miami Dolphins do to win 10 games. Just as
Miami
much.
division is much harder to win than that division. That division is not hard to win. There's nobody in that division at
Listen,
all.
injuries.
Atlanta's not a force. Tampa's not a force. Carolina doesn't have a quarterback, and New Orleans sucks. So that division is absolutely garbage. Don't
It's
compare it to the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Jets. Come on, man.
okay.
It's not even
As I
close.
said, the argument that I began is they got just as much a chance to win 10 games as the Miami Dolphins do.
No, well, just because maybe not 10 games. They have no shot at winning 10 games.
Ooh,
They might have a shot at
Saints?
8 games because of the
Saints?
division they play in.
Man, that division, you're right. The division is trash. They can win 10 games with Derek Carr. I do believe that.
Oh, that's true. They do have Derek Carr. I forgot they do have Derek Carr.
Like, yeah, man, they can win 10 games now.
Yeah, it's a terrible
Mayfield in Tampa. Like, come on, you can win 10 games.
Yeah, but they're not going anywhere. They're not winning anything.
Neither are the Dolphins. Well, I mean, with this run game, neither are you. Like, you want to come back, run it back with the 31st rushing attack in the NFL.
The Buffalo Bills barely beat the Dolphins in the playoffs last year, and they were completely injured and didn't have their starting quarterback.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'm not exactly sure what fucking pedestal you're putting the Bills at, but whatever it is,
the Bills are top 14
completely lost. I don't know what pedestal you're putting them on, but last time I checked, the Buffalo Bills don't win anything, my brother. Okay. They don't win anything. They don't live up to any hype that you've got them on hyped up for. Not exactly sure what you're hyping them up.
Okay, they are the second to third best team.
Injury-riddled Dolphins team was almost as good as they were at the end of the year.
Man, listen, and that's cute to say. That's cute to say. That's cute to say. You're 1-2 against the Buffalo Bills. Lost when it mattered the most. Yes, you didn't have your quarterback.
You didn't have a lot of things. It's not just
either did they.
You're missing a whole bunch of things, not just your quarterback, and you weren't really that good at that.
They're not in the same league as the Buffalo Bills.
You're playing with your third string quarterback, dude. And you had some guy named Cotton on the line. I mean, come on, bro. You picked up a guy off the street that was helping you out. I mean, was it Cotton or whatever? What's the name of that guy that was on there? I don't even remember the guy's name that it was.
Listen, that's part of the NFL, and I'm not gonna. If you ask me, this began with, how impressive of the offseason. They shopped at the dollar store. Let's be real about it. They did.
Jalen Ramsey is not the dollar store. Vic Fangio,
exception of Jalen Ramsey. Exception of Jalen Ramsey. Okay, you got a returned item from Neiman Marcus.
All right. So Zach Sealer is the dollar store because they don't pay a lot for Zach Sealer.
Okay, Zach Sealer is a very good player.
Mostert's very productive. They don't have to pay a lot for him.
Mostert.
Nick Needham been very productive in his career. They don't pay a lot for him. Cater Kohu was very productive. They don't pay a lot for him.
Okay, Cater Kohu might be better than
Hunt. They have yet to pay anything to Rob Hunt. They're just paying him his second round salary.
Yeah, what's your point? What's your point? All these.
My point is you are measuring it by what you pay somebody instead of measuring it by finding a good player. Who gives a shit what you pay them?
Bro,
some teams are going to get a bargain and you're going to get the same kind of production or better.
Do you know, and I wanted to have this discussion with you. If it's so easy for Chris Greer to find a good player, why is Andrew Van Ginkel his best third-day draft pick?
That's his best third-day draft pick?
It is. It is.
I don't think you're right on that.
I can give you that's the first class that he was part of.
I think you're wrong on that one.
Is Andrew Van Ginkel better than Myles Gaskin? That's the contender. There's Solomon more. Kinley, Malcolm Perry, who's another bro? It's a list of disastrous draft picks. Just Trey, Jared Dokes, like, bro, it's not very good. And you should look it up. I was
Sanders was a good one.
Okay. Are you really counting a kicker?
Well, it was a good one, wasn't it,
bro?
That wasn't a good pick.
I promise you, Andrew Van Ginkel, and I haven't seen his contract. He's making more than
and Cater Kohu wasn't a draft pick, but that was
we're not gonna throw the unsigned draft prom. Yeah, he might be better at signing unsigned play, like having unsigned players develop than his third day draft picks. His third day draft picks have been a disaster, just colossal disaster. And I was surprised. I got to be honest with you. His drafting is not very good at all. And his third day picks, like, bro, you might as well just sign undrafted players. You got just as much of a chance as your undrafted guys. Isaiah Prince, Chandler Cox,
I'm looking at him.
Solomon Kinley, Jason Strobridge. I'm not counting a long snapper. Malcolm Perry. Like, if you got to draft a long snapper and a kicker just to have guys in your third day on your roster, you got a problem. And I think they got a problem. I'm not
no, they don't have a problem. See, Omar, this is where you get hyperbolic and you're completely off, because if you find Kohu, that makes up for somebody.
No, I would rather you hit on your third day guys.
Williams, if you find Nick Needham, if you find Brandon Shell, if
hit on your third day guys and find Kohu, Needham, Robert Jones. It's not we could do one or the other. No, hit on the third day guys and go find.
No. You can't have it all, dude.
Parcells did it all.
Nobody hits on their first day, second day, third day, and straight free agents. Nobody.
Parcells did.
Nobody.
Parcells did.
Nobody.
Parcells did.
Parcells doesn't do anything.
Parcells did.
Dude, this is how full of shit you are. He never won a championship by him leading.
I'm talking about what he did here. What
did he do here? He didn't do shit here. He drafted Pat White, bro. He didn't do shit here. He left us Jeff Ireland.
He's 5 years ahead of his time.
Rest in peace.
Jeff Ireland is drafted better than Chris Greer.
Wanted to win with field goals, bro. What are you talking? Parcells was a disaster,
bro.
A disaster.
Best draft history. Far exceeds anything anybody has done in the last 20 years. By far. Might argue with you that it exceeds Jimmy Johnson here. We could go bar for bar on that one.
So you take Jake Long instead of the quarterback, and remember, he also brought in the coach that played Jake Long in the preseason that ruined his knee and ruined his career.
I'm talking about draft history.
Philip Merling, Chad Henne, Langford was a good one. Sean Murphy, Jalen Parlamy, Donald Thomas, Lex Hilliard, Lionel Dotson. The entire draft outside of Langford and Long, that's it. Okay? The next year, Vontae Davis, right? Then Pat White, Sean Smith, Patrick Turner, Brian Hartline, John Nailbone, Chris Clemens, Andrew Gardner, J.D. Folsom. What the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Does he have 3 hits in every draft? Does he have 3 hits in every draft?
No, he doesn't. Vontae Davis was the hit. That's it. White,
Sean Smith wasn't a hit?
Hartline
wasn't a hit?
Hartline was a hit for a 4th-round pick. He was
Sean Smith wasn't
serviceable. Vontae Davis and Brian Hartline. That's it. Pat White wasn't a hit. Sean Smith wasn't a hit. Patrick Turner wasn't a hit. John Nailbone wasn't a hit. Chris Clemens wasn't a hit. Andrew Gardner wasn't a hit. J.D. Folsom wasn't a hit. Jake Long was a miss. Philip Merling was a miss.
Jake Long was a Pro Bowler, bro. Be respectful. Didn't last long.
I get it, my brother, but you only had him for one contract. It doesn't mean shit. It was a miss.
Oh, is that what the bar is? Whether a guy makes it to the second contract?
Yeah. You had him for 3 years and 2 injury years.
Let's go look at Chris Greer. Let's go look at Chris Greer's draft history and see how many players have made it to the second contract.
You ruined that. No, but you said Parcells. So
let's go look at Chris Greer's draft history.
Wait a minute. Listen, I'll give you Jake Long, Philip Merling, Kendall Langford was a hit. Sean Murphy, Jalen Parlamy, Donald Thomas, Lex Hilliard, Lionel Dotson. 2 picks in that draft. 2 picks.
Let's go look at Chris
He had
Greer's
two
draft
picks on
history.
each. He
Since
had
the
two
new
picks on
bar,
each draft. Two
since the
picks on
new
each
bar
draft.
is guys making it to a second contract. We've got Xavier Howard. I guess Jakeem Grant counts.
No. But wait a minute. But why'd you leave this Parcells bullshit?
Because we're talking about Chris Greer.
it?
We're talking about Parcells. We're talking about Chris Greer. We're talking about the failed draft history of Chris Greer.
Hold on a second. First round picks: Jared Odrick, Vontae Davis, and Jake Long. Okay. All right, great. That's fantastic. I'll take Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, Siobhan Holland, Tua Tagovailoa, Austin Jackson, Noah Igbenogany,
because he got 3 draft picks each year.
Christian Wilkins and Minka Fitzpatrick. I'll take all of that at first round, better than anything he did. Oh, by the way, let's go second round, my man. Let's go Javon Holland. Let's go Javon Holland. Let's go Robert.
You can't count Minka Fitzpatrick twice.
Let's go Robert Hunt, Javon Holland. Let's go Mike Gesicki. Those are better second rounders than Parcells did by miles. Since you said
by your bar, it's whether or not they made it to the second contract here.
No. Jake Long was an injured player.
That's your bar. That's your bar that you created.
No. That's Parcells and the coach he brought in that killed that player.
It's a failure if they don't make it to a second contract.
It was. Jake Long is no. I'm not saying a fourth rounder is a failure if it doesn't get to the second contract. I'm saying Jake Long is a failure if you don't get him to the second contract. You can't take the number 1 pick in the draft, Omar, and not re-sign him. Now, you couldn't because he was a sack of injuries at that point because the dumbass coach, rest in peace, but he wanted to play him on a baseball field in the rain in the first preseason game of the season.
Don't go that far back, but anyway, listen.
No, I know. Your memory doesn't go as far back as a month ago. Mine goes back many years.
Yes,
that mother played him on a preseason game in a rainy situation on a baseball field and ruined that player. So it became a terrible draft pick. If you took the guy number 1 and he only played 3 good years for you, brother, that's a waste. It's a waste of a pick.
I think he spent 5 years here.
The last 2 were injury riddled.
All right, listen, we're splitting hairs here. The issue is on the table. Andrew Van Ginkel is Chris Greer's top third-day draft selection, and then your argument is, he finds Cater Cohus and Nick Needhams.
Well, okay, if you miss on third-day guys, you got to hit somewhere else, dude.
Yeah, if your third-day selection up, you got to hit on undrafted players.
Managers do.
You're right, bro. You can't keep surviving on whiffing on third-day selections. But
he's hitting on the first and second day selections
Michael
overall.
Dieter, Austin Jackson's, Noah Igbenogany. I'll even throw Raekwon Davis on that pile. I'm sorry, he's
slightly better than those.
Hunter Long. I don't even know if he's batting 400.
No, he's batting more than that.
He's all right.
On the high picks, he's batting a lot better than that. No, that's not. He wasn't in charge in those days.
He was the GM. That was his. He gets. Hold on. You credit him for and Xavier Howard. That's the same draft.
Dude, I know exactly. That's why I never use that year. I always go after when those guys, when Gase and Tannenbaum are gone. That's when I really truly measure him. Because with Gase and Tannenbaum, he was cock blocked all over the place with Gase and Tannenbaum. All over the place.
All right. Blame Mike Gesicki on everybody else but him. He made the selection. Listen.
On who? Who made the selection?
Mike Gesicki.
Who made it?
Gase.
Oh yeah, no, and I'm told the little returner that I like, that got traded to Chicago. He went to I'm told that was Tannenbaum's guy.
No, that's Ross's guy.
I was told it was Tannenbaum that liked him.
Yeah.
Somebody told me it was Tannenbaum that wanted Jakeem Grant.
Yeah, listen, Jakeem Grant was
like one of these things like, let me get this. I want this one here in this round because it was a late round pick. And so
Jakeem Grant was a success story. And
he was.
He was a success
Hell
story.
yeah. Yeah.
I just need a late round pick to have a Bobby McCain type career. That's all I'm saying. The
Well,
rest
you have other guys. Okay. You find a sealer who's better than Bobby McCain.
blaming somebody off somebody else for
100
practice
times
squad.
better than Bobby McCain. Okay. Zach Sealer is way better. Robert Jones has done a nice job last year filling in. That's a nice guy to find.
It's
Nick
not a
Needham.
we can
Nick
have
Needham
either
has been
or.
a
I would like
very good
both.
slot corner.
You're
You
like
found
telling me I can't have strawberries and nuts on my Sunday. No, I'd like both. You're like, you can't have third day guys and
nobody
undrafted
does
guys who
it.
grew up.
It's unrealistic to think you're going to hit at all
It is
levels.
realistic. It is realistic. It is realistic. It's nothing
No,
stopping you.
overall, he makes good trades.
Yes.
Overall, the drafts at the top are pretty damn good. Okay. He's been able to find the coach that you need now. So everything that you need, he's been able to get it done. And the quarterback can clearly play after all the people that said he couldn't. They're all wrong. Now he's got the injury stuff, but it's not like he's still way better than anybody you've ever drafted or brought in here since 13. Like 1,000 times better. So he has found the quarterback. Now the kid's got to figure out how to stay healthy on his own.
Doesn't mean all the decisions that he makes are without questioning or without justification. Yeah. I didn't like this offseason. I'm sorry. I thought that they could make, and they still have the opportunity to make a ton of better additions to this team. The additions that they made right now, it's food in my tummy. That doesn't mean it's yummy. Like, it's okay. It's all right. It's solid. It'll get me to the next day, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm dying to go eat it. Like, that's just my opinion. Like, it's like I bought, my daughter loves goldfish. I went to the dollar store. I got these non-name
goldfish in the dollar store.
No, they don't. They sell an imitation goldfish that is really horrible and crappy. Let me interject some of those little goldfish into my daughter's goldfish, and she'll fish them out, put them on the floor, and only eat the goldfish because she knows better. And I think that that's what this offseason is. It's a lot of guys that are just like, it's all right. I don't want to eat it though. I'm sorry. Braxton Berrios might be, except for Jalen Ramsey, which we're putting that to the side. Braxton Berrios might be your best addition.
Oh, you don't like the long kid, obviously.
He's okay. He's all right. I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see how he plays in this scheme. Like, let's not act like people were backing up a Brinks truck to go sign him. They weren't.
Well, because he had the injury history. That's why.
Okay. And you signed a guy with injury history.
He missed a couple games the last 2 years, and that's why he didn't have the big numbers out there or the long term.
Yeah, we talked to him, and he took a little. He was in his feelings about that, and rightfully so, because his former head coach just cost him a lot of money, which I would have an issue with that as well. I would be busting that ass.
I don't blame Greer. That
he also played behind one of the best defensive lines in the NFL.
I also don't blame Greer. I commend him for finding players that he could actually get at a bargain price and get more out of them.
How successful do you think Chris Greer has been in free agency with the exception of trades? No trades.
No, that's part of free agency.
No, don't do that.
That's part of free agency.
I've already said A+ on trades. Now let's do free agency.
Well, Teron Armstead, Connor Williams, those are good free agents.
Okay.
Byron Jones was decent until last year, actually.
Way overpaid. Way drastically overpaid.
Welcome to free agency. They're all overpaid.
I would have never signed.
They're all overpaid.
No.
So what are you going to do?
But
okay, Jalen. Well, Jalen's a trade.
I'm gonna make you give me some grades. Trades. Where's Greer? A, right?
Pretty much A-, I'd say.
Free agency, not including trades. Where's Greer?
I got to think of all the names the last couple of years here that he has signed.
He's about a C. Drafting. Where do you think Chris Greer is?
I would go with a B- there.
Okay, I'd go to C plus. And then late signees or undrafted players.
And by the way, it'll get to an A- if Tua stays healthy, because once you find a quarterback, you're the shit.
Once you find the quarterback and he's cheap, then when you start paying him expensive money,
No, I don't care about the expensive. You keep worrying about money.
No.
Once you find a guy that can play the position and be a real franchise quarterback, then I know I got a general manager.
When you're paying your quarterback $200 million, you better hit on those third-day picks, and you better hit on those undrafted players, and you better hit on your dollar store shopping and free agency, because that's what you're going to have to live off.
And they do that. And they do that.
He's got A in trades.
The third day stuff is the only thing you have something to stand on. That's it.
Second day? Oh, Michael Dieter.
Second day, they're exceptional. What are you talking about?
Austin Jackson, Noah Igbenogany, Michael Dieter, Raekwon McMillan, Solomon Kinley, Liam Eichenberg. Sorry to throw him on that pile. Hunter Long. Like, bro, come on now. This is not
for second day. For second day.
Second day guys aren't even worth mentioning. Oh, second day. With Hunter Long's the second day guy. Liam Eichenberg's the second day guy.
But so is Javon Holland. So is Robert Hunt. So is Brandon Jones. Those are second day guys too, but you don't mention those guys.
Michael Dieter, second day guy. Michael Dieter, Robert Hunt, Raekwon Davis, Brandon Jones.
Two of the three are good.
Okay, second day guy. Liam Eichenberg, Hunter Long.
And Javon Holland.
I'm sorry.
You conveniently leave out Javon Holland. He's only picked Minka and Javon Holland. He's only picked two of the five best safeties in the NFL.
I apologize. I apologize. Javon Holland was at the turn of the page for drafts, so I didn't see him there. But yes, Javon Holland. He's hitting like 500.
That's exceptional. That's exceptional. That's exceptional, Omar.
You're right.
If you hit on half your draft picks, you are excellent at drafting.
You're okay. No, we don't have his draft picks. He's hit on 50% on second day. 50%.
Would you like me to go to Parcells' second round picks?
Let's leave.
No, Parcells. I don't think you wanted me to do that, right?
No.
I don't think you want me to do that, right?
Because I
already read him, right?
Listen. We can do it. I'm not scared.
No, you don't. No, you don't want to do it.
Pat White, Sean Smith, Patrick Turner, Toamisi had a long career. John Jerry had a long career.
Get out of here. Toamisi was shit. He was a sack of injuries. Get the hell out of here. Don't pull that shit on me. Now, one of the second rounders you have named has hit. Go ahead, just name them. Name them all.
John Jerry had a long ass career.
John Jerry found his way in the Giants.
John Jerry started for like 4 years here.
I know, but John Jerry sucked here. John Jerry sucked here. He was terrible here.
He did. He had a nice
articles. I can go find articles of you ripping John Jerry.
I sure did. You're right.
Okay. So,
but he had a long NFL career.
All of Parcells' second rounders.
John Jerry spent 8 years as a starter in the NFL. Is that a win or a loss?
Listen. All of Parcells' second rounders were failures. And yet you complain about Greer hitting half of his second rounders.
Philip Merlings, Chad Henne. Yeah, that's a failure. Pat White. Okay, that's 3 failures. We got 1 victory in Sean Smith.
No, it was not a victory either. Sean Smith was not a victory.
Sean Smith started in the NFL for like 8 years, bro.
Sean Smith had some flashes.
4-year starter here.
He never turned into a good bro. Are you comparing Sean Smith to Javon Holland? Seriously. That's a second round pick, my man.
They're not even the same.
Xavier Howard, that's a second round pick, my man. These are like Robert Hunt. That's a second round pick, my man.
Sean Smith has had equal to, if not exceeded, the career of Robert Hunt. Stop.
Bro, Robert Hunt has just started and his career is already better. Robert Hunt is only going to get
Bro,
better.
we got to get to a baseline of what is a
You
successful
started
career.
this interview by moving Robert Hunt to right tackle.
I want to move him to right tackle. I still want to move him to right tackle. He was good at right tackle.
So if you think he can play right
I
tackle
want
and
a more
right guard,
athletic
you're
right
comparing
guard.
John Smith to Robert Hunt.
I would rather start Robert
Hunt,
Jones at right guard and Robert Hunt at right tackle than what you do.
That tough son of a bitch has started every game for the Dolphins. He's super reliable, bro.
Yeah, and so was John Jerry. What you want a victory lap for that? John Jerry was super goddamn reliable too. Now you don't want to give him no credit, no props. No, John Jerry started every damn game for 4 years.
Not for the Dolphins, he wasn't. Not for the Dolphins, he wasn't.
Hey, he started every damn game for 4 years, and now you want to give Robert Hunt the praise that you won't give John Jerry.
You need to go back and get some reality check here and go look at all the other GMs that they've had and go see their picks, and you see how little they used to hit on. And then these guys are actually hitting on a hell of a lot more, and yet you're not giving them the love.
What third day guy they hit on? What third day guy?
Stop living on the third day, bro.
Okay.
They're hitting on their first and second. They're making good trades. And if you miss on the third day, go find it in street free agency. If you miss on Igbenogamy in the first round, forget the third day, go find me Kohu, go find me Nick Needham, go find me Trill Williams. Thank you. If you miss on a lineman, go find me Sealer. If you miss on Eichenberg, go find me Jones. You know, you got to try to make up for it in other ways, and they do that.
My point is you can do both. You don't have to do one or the other. You can do both.
I just showed you just read the example of Parcells. They did none.
Bro.
Okay? They didn't hit on their second day picks. They were mediocre in their first day picks. They didn't hit on the third day picks either. They're not hitting on street free agents. They couldn't find a quarterback. They couldn't find a head coach. Come on, bro. They had a guy here that loved field goals.
They hit on the waiver wire. You're having a
you know that our boy Jeff Ireland actually did better post Parcells.
Yes, he did. He did all right.
Okay. So that's what I'm trying to. So I'll be honest with you about all this shit, but don't brag me about Parcells because that run was a disaster, an absolute disaster from top to bottom, from management to the drafting, the coaching.
Exact same thing that this organization did.
But it's weird
because they wanted
how we kill Ireland, and he actually did some stuff that was way more positive after this guy left. That's the problem. Now, he couldn't find a quarterback either, which, of course, that's a problem for every GM in the league is trying to find a quarterback.
Hey, Tannehill's still starter in the league, so we think. I'm curious.
You want him back? You want him back? Is that who you want to cover?
Nah, not really. I mean, I'm good. I'm good. Okay. I don't have no complaints. But he's going to be a starter in the league for somebody. I don't know who. But
there are bad starters in this league all the time. That's why there aren't 32 of them. So he'll find a spot, of course. So will Taylor Heineke and Gardner Minshew. They'll be starting for teams 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32, of course. Because
those guys aren't starters. Let's put some respect on Tannehill's name. Those guys aren't starters. Tannehill started everywhere.
But those are the kind of guys that end up in teams 32 and 31 and 30, starting for 3/4 of a season because whatever old fart they brought in wasn't good enough or retread or whatever the hell it is.
Player wasn't good enough, to unseat him. Yeah, that they got
look what happened with Tennessee this year. They brought the Dobbs kid off the street, and because Malik was so bad, they couldn't even use Malik after that. So
I'm a big fan of Dobbs. Always.
Good kid. He's just inconsistent. All right, what do you got going on in Sports Illustrated so folks can check you out?
We talked to a number of the signees, the dollar store bargains, and basically a story going up about what motivated them, which was basically existing relationships. I found some of the, a lot of Vic Fangio came up where, David Long wanted to play in a scheme and a system like Vic Fangio. And I think that was a lot of agent driven stuff. Deshaun Elliott wanted to reunite with Brandon Jones. And as we know, the Jets guys, they're they're close as we saw on Instagram. So really enjoyed Dan Feeney, talking to Dan Feeney. Guy's a character. Guy's a true character, and I'm curious to see if he can actually play.
Yeah, I think he might be more of a rotational guy.
Yeah, interior backup, interior guy, and that's perfectly fine because you got mystery meat at left guard. Yeah, you need that. Maybe he's a good center, and Connor Williams goes out to guard. I don't think that's a wise idea.
No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Connor Williams was one of the top centers in the league, dude.
Yeah, I loved what I saw from him. So I don't have a problem with that.
I don't know why people are so quick to get off his bandwagon. It's like no, but a lot of people are. They're like dying to move him to guard.
I think a mistake that they're making is that they're not re-signing him to a multi-year deal now. I really do think that that's a player that I would get him while he's relatively reasonably priced. And if he plays the way he played last year, like he did this year, he's going to be an expensive player. So,
all right. Follow him on Twitter at Omar Kelly and catch his work there at Sports Illustrated. Omar, as always, thank you, my friend. We will catch up next week.
All right, man.
You got it. There you go. Omar Kelly and our essentialmovingexperts.com Miami Dolphins exchange. As we told you earlier, call our friends there at essentialmovingexperts.com. Call Sean. Great people, man. And they can move your goods from city to city, county to county, state to state, across the state. They do it all. All right.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.